welcome to the Indiana State Coaches Show, live from 7th and Elm Bar and Grill, Indiana State, getting ready for the South Dakota Coyotes this weekend. It's going to be a big one for Indiana State. Missouri Valley Football Conference play finally begins for the Sycamores after a 2-2 conference season. No head coach Curt Mallory tonight, but we still have a packed show. Women's golf coach Greg Town will join us later on. We'll also have Marcus Knight, running back coach. We'll have two of the big duos in the backfield. Peterson Curligran, Titus McCoy will be guests, as well as one of the mules in Zach Larkin, and the leader of the Mule Stable kicks off the show. Not Coach Mallory, it's Tyler Funk. Coach Funk, appreciate the time, man. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for having me. This is the first time I've ever done a radio show, so I'm pretty fired up about this.
There you go. Yeah. First time for everything. Kind of mentioned, for those that maybe don't know, you and your tight ends call yourself the Mules, the Mule Stable. Mm-hmm. How did that kind of come about, and kind of the meaning behind it, and why you guys use that so much day to day?
It was interesting. Before I got to Indiana State, I actually coached the defensive line at the University of Mount Union. So when I transitioned over to the offensive side of the ball, my father, a longtime offensive coach, coached the offensive line for a lot of different places. He just always kind of has this, creativity with different things. He's like, hey, I read the story about a mule one time and how they are kind of the hybrid of the thoroughbred horse and the donkey, and they kind of do everything. They put the weight of the caravan on their back, and, doesn't that kind of sound like a tight end a little bit? I'm like, yeah, I'm going to act like that's my own idea, but yeah, absolutely. So that makes a lot of sense. So. But that came about as soon as I got here to Indiana State, and those guys have, taken it and ran with it.
Hey, you mentioned your experience at Mount Union. You've been around a lot of good coaches, one just because your dad is one, but also Mount Union, one of, if not maybe the most recognizable name in school at the Division III level. What have you enjoyed about your experience prior to Indiana State that you feel has gotten you ready for when you got here, and what's the reason why you're still here and enjoying your time coaching?
Well, it's easy to say that, me personally, I've been blessed to be raised by one of the best coaches to ever do it, in Daryl Funk, and I had the opportunity to coach with him for a year. But growing up around a man who, is completely knowledgeable with the game of football, and just to be, tutored by a guy like that, and with a multitude of different, things about football and growing up around it. I've been blessed to learn from him, but not only colleagues of his as well. Growing up around a bunch of coaches, and it's really been a blessing to be around a guy like that. I always tell myself that if I'm half the coach Daryl Funk is, I'm going to be just okay. So.
And of course, you were able to coach with your dad here for a year back in 2017. Mm-hmm. I've asked you this before, but just to ask it to you again in front of the crowd here tonight, what was the joy about being able to work with your dad? Because originally, at first, you didn't know when you got here that you would work with your dad.
Right. Like I already said, I've been blessed with the fact that I've been around a coach that has been doing it for so long that transitioning from defensive side of the ball to the offensive side of the ball, I had him immediately to help guide me into a new transition in my life, But to be around a guy that just does the thing right, he's unbelievable with the ability to relate to his players, which is a big thing for me. That's what I want to be able to do throughout my career, is be able to develop a relationship with the guys in my room, and to have a father that had the ability to do that and continues to do that. It was an enormous blessing. So, and he continues to do so. And there won't be a day in my life that I won't lean on him for guidance. I talk to him every single day about something, one or the other thing. So, but that's been a huge blessing.
Of course, your dad now down with the Roadrunners. How is Pops doing?
He's doing okay. He's doing okay. They're improving. They're improving, and they got a big challenge this week, just like every week in that conference. But he's doing well. He's doing well, and I haven't had a chance to talk to him much recently. But this is kind of part of this profession. You know what I mean? It's just you go a few days without talking, but it's just pick it up where we left off, and it's good.
Tyler Funk is our guest, tight ends coach, the leader of the Mule Stable here at Indiana State. Sycamores getting ready for South Dakota, the Coyotes this weekend in Vermillion, South Dakota. Tyler, for you, you've been here since that first year, as we talked about in 2017. And when you think back to that season, of course, 0-11, but a lot of tough games within the Valley that year. What did it do for that group, for those guys who are still here? They're here tonight. Zach, Petey, Titus, they were on that team. They played critical roles on that team. How did that year still shape those guys who continue to play here today, and why that's still something to remember when you bring up and you move out throughout the year?
Well, the most obvious thing is that those guys had the ability to, although we were 0-11 in that year, they saw the vision of Curt Mallory. They saw the things that, we ended each week unfortunately not the way we wanted to, but meeting together and say, you know what, we can be really, really good. And they saw the flashes of, the things that we're going to be able to do, and they bought in completely. I mean, and they continue to do so. But, when you go through an 0-11 season and you have those kind of trials and tribulations, I mean, it really builds your character as a football player and as a leader. I mean, I can't speak highly enough about a guy like Zach Larkin, who, again, like you said, has been in the tight end room since that first year I was here. He saw the worst, and now he's really reaping the benefits of sticking around and really buying into the thing. And all those guys rally around a guy like Titus or a guy like Zach Larkin, who have been through the lows and the highs, and they're going to continue to do so.
We'll talk to Zach about this later on in the show, but he was a guy when you first got here was in that quarterback battle initially,
yeah.
and he decided to go to Coach Mallory and said, "I want to help the team.
Yep.
What can I do to also play but help the team?" He ultimately got into your position group. How has Zach gone from a guy who was just transitioning to being a tight end to now being your no doubt stable leader?
Well, I mean, that guy, as soon as he stepped into the mule stable, he was 100% all in. And you talk about selflessness. I mean, he wanted, like you said, he wanted to be a part of a great culture, and he wanted to do whatever he could to help this team out. And as soon as he did that, he immediately brought devotion and dedication to being the best version of the player that he is. And throughout these, now he's going on his third year as a starter. And he continues to bring selflessness in that room. I mean, it's no secret, there's not going to be a bunch of games where we're super, overwhelming with statistical stuff. But at the same time, we understand our role, and he understands that role, and he attacks that every single day. Okay, well, I might be, heavily used in the run game, but you know what? If that's going to help us win, that's what I'm going to do. And he's had that for going on 3 years now, and he'll continue to do so until he graduates. And the beauty of that is now not only do you have the rest of the tight end room, but you have the rest of the team rallying around that mentality. And that's truly a blessing to have a guy like that in the room.
We talked about Zach, but about that group, I know you really like the group.
Mm-hmm.
What is it about the group that you like so much? And I know you were high on them in fall camp, and I'm sure after the early portions of the season, still high on them and what you like.
Absolutely. I've never been around a group of young men that are this dedicated and passionate about getting better every single day. It's unbelievable. I mean, sometimes you got to kick those guys out of the office because they're so, they're so, devoted to understanding the other side of the ball and understanding what their role is and learning the position. And that's my favorite thing about the room. Obviously, the intelligence in that room is through the roof, whether it's Zach Larkin, Henry Woodcock, Matade Thomas, Ethan Cox, Tynan Williams, or Jack Schmitz, a young guy. All those guys have an intelligence that's superior, and they utilize that along with their passion to get better. And that makes my job so much easier.
Well, I know it's probably pretty clear to those in this room that maybe haven't met you just in your conversation with me here, a guy filled with high energy. That is kind of what you bring each and every day to the program. Why is that something that you just feel is so important to be that way, and what makes that you? What do you like about that style and how that helps not just your tight ends, but really, I think, breeds confidence and breeds that kind of mentality throughout the team?
Well, it's no secret that you can't be successful playing the sport or coaching the sport if you're not passionate about the sport that which you play or in which you coach. And I was blessed to grow up within the sport, so I had one job in my mind that I knew I was going to do when I came out of college, and that was to coach football. So I had an unbridled enthusiasm for doing that, and I feel like anything in life worth doing, you better do with passion. And if you don't have passion for what you're doing, you're wasting your time. So that's just me, just excited to go out and work with these guys. I mean, and work for a guy like Coach Mallory and the rest of the staff. I mean, that's the other thing too. I mean, I have a lot of energy and passion, but I feed off a lot of the guys, or all the guys that I work with. I mean, the rest of the staff are the exact same way. I mean, I'm constantly hooping up with Dion Broomfield. I think he's here today, Coach Broomfield, and some of those other guys there that we're constantly excited to get better and to work with each other. So it's easy.
And I've also seen some very intense FIFA matches between you and Coach Broomfield out at Memorial Stadium.
Yeah. He wishes they were a little bit more intense, but that's all right. It's okay. He'll get there.
Intense and competitive. Yeah. Tyler Funk, our guest, the leader of the Mule Stable. All right, looking towards this weekend, kind of end on this note. South Dakota, a team last year that was one of, if not the most exciting game last year in triple overtime, a win at Memorial Stadium. But 2 years ago, it was a really tough afternoon for us in Vermillion. Just the excitement to begin conference play. Right from the gate, it's going to be against a quality opponent.
Absolutely. Absolutely, and we have nothing but respect for this team. I mean, obviously last year it was a dogfight, and they're going to be a challenge again. That defense is well coached and physical and play at a high level as far as energy and effort goes, and obviously we're going to do everything in our power to overwhelm them with the same thing on our side of the ball. But I'm excited to take these guys on. I know these guys are as well. I was just talking to my girlfriend Nicole actually yesterday about this team because she was asking the same thing, and I was telling her, I tell you what, these guys are going to bring it every single play, and obviously that's what we're going to try, and we will do consistently on Saturday as well. So I'm excited and these guys are excited to get after it.
Yeah, I think one of my favorite videos of you of all time is actually one I did not shoot myself, but it was back during your time at Mount Union, where I think they had. Was it like a WWE themed practice where you came out? Was it the Road Dogg Jesse James?
It was.
You came out on?
It was Halloween. We had practice on Halloween, and our defense coordinator at the time had the idea to come out and dress up like WWE characters, and obviously his idea was to make me be the one with the tightest shorts on, so to make me be apparently the most embarrassed. But that was a lot of fun to do, and that went viral and all that kind of stuff. But that was fun to be a part of that thing around those guys. So.
Well, and I guess the transition for me would be if Coach Mallory redid that here, who would you be? What would be your WWE superstar now? Because you can't repeat. You can't be the Road Dogg. Who would be someone you would like to intimidate at a practice?
I'm going to be honest with you. When he told me about that WWE stuff and those characters, I had no idea what the heck he was talking about. I had never watched WWE, so I was like, oh, sure, I'll do this role. I guess if I had to pick one, I think, maybe I'm going to stick with the Road Dogg Jesse James.
Okay, that's all right.
Yeah, because I probably still have the uniform back at home, so it'd be easy to dust it off and go again. So, that's probably what I would do. Yeah.
Tyler, good luck this weekend. Appreciate you stopping by. Once again, that was
Appreciate
Tyler Funk, everybody. When we come back, we're going to be joined by the Mule, Zach Larkin. You're listening to the Indiana State Coaches Show, live from 7th and Elm. Welcome back to 7th and Elm, corner of food and fun here at Terre Haute. It's the Indiana State Coaches Show. Big thank you to Tyler Funk for stopping on by. Time to talk to We just talked to the leader of the Mule stable, now one of the Mules. Zach Larkin joins us here on the Coaches Show. Zach, always great to catch up with you, man. Yep. I know for you guys, I'm sure after a bye week, which is not an off week, you guys were still practicing this past week, ready to get back out and play a game.
Yeah, we're always ready. The bye week's nice to take a little bit of time off. A lot of people went home, saw their families, but, everybody's getting back ready to go into conference. For
you guys, despite getting news like you did early last week and losing a guy like Ryan Boyle, who's one of your captains, one of your seniors, would think maybe for those on the outside would go, well, how can you deal with it? Well, you guys a year ago had to deal with it when you lost Christian Covington to a career-ending injury. You lost Jaquan Keys to a career-ending injury as well. You guys have had experience with this, unfortunately. Despite losing a piece like that, why do you guys feel that this is a year that you guys can keep on going and keep on playing and still be a team that can reach those goals that you guys set out in fall camp?
Yeah, and Coach Mallory always talking about next man up. Last year we had a lot of tough injuries, but everybody just stepped up. We had Tyus and PD last year who stepped up when Keys and Cove went down, and so we all feel for Ryan, but we know Kurt and Gunner in that room, there's competition there, and we're all behind Kurt right now. And Kurt stepped in, played a good game at Eastern Illinois, and he's just gonna get better as the year goes on. So everybody's confident in Kurt.
You guys, as the Mules, you now are one. I kind of bring up, and we talk about when you were in the quarterback battle a couple years ago, and you're like, well, pretty much all I've known now is being a tight end. Yeah. But to kind of take us back through that position battle for you, what was it that led you to want to go to talk to Coach Mallory and say, I want to help this team. I want to be able to get out on that field, put me wherever. What kind of led you to want to do that and be so willing to take on a new position that you really probably maybe didn't know a whole lot about?
Yeah, so in that quarterback battle, I found out that I wasn't going to be a starter. I was going to be third string. And it was tough for me. I was going through practices, wasn't really doing much, and I'm a competitor. So I didn't want to keep doing that. So, I had talked with my dad and a couple of family. And, I decided my dad didn't want me to switch, but I was like, I'm not going to keep doing this. So I went and sat down, talked to Coach Heck. We had a couple injuries in the tight end room. So I felt like that was my best spot, best chance to, have an impact. And I was like, I want to move to tight end. And he was like, all right, I'll talk to Coach Mallory about it. And the next day I was at tight end. So.
Did you initially think when you were going through that you would maybe enjoy it as much as you have? Because it does seem like each and every day when I go out to practice and I see you play, you just love being there, and you love being part of that position group and leading that position group.
Yeah, I definitely didn't think I was going to enjoy it as much as I did, but when I got there, we had Jaquette and we had Calvin, and they were two really good leaders. They helped me along the way, and we lost them the next year, so I was kind of like thrown in the fire as well. One of the dudes coming back with experience, kind of just take off with it from there.
Where do you feel right now through the non-conference portion of the schedule you guys are an offense are at in terms of where maybe you thought you would be right now, and also where you want to go?
Yeah, as an offense, we feel like we haven't played our best football yet. Losing Ryan hurts a lot, but Kurt's gonna step in there and keep the offense going. But we feel like we can do a lot more than what we've already shown. I think you're gonna see that coming up in conference.
You mentioned knowing that there's so much there. Ryan, of course, is a big part of the team, and everyone knows that if you're around it. But there's a lot of great guys around him. Is that kind of the sense you guys have, and why being out at practice you guys have so much confidence is because all of you up and down the line, I think, really believe in one another and know all of you belong on that field, and it is that next man up thing and that next man up cliche I know fans hear all the time, but it's something you guys really live by.
Yeah, every time we're out there, everybody on the field has a lot of experience. We all want to make a play. So it's kind of a little fun competition of who's going to make the play. We always joke with each other about who's getting out there on the field and trying to make a play. But I think everybody on the offense, everybody has had the experience. They've been out there that I think the coaches trust everybody out on that field to be able to make a play.
Indiana State, South Dakota this weekend in Vermillion, South Dakota. It's the opener for Indiana State and Missouri Valley Football Conference action. Last year, kind of brought up with Coach Funk about that's what was one of the more exciting games a year ago, being able to win in triple overtime, of course, part of that 5-win stretch to end the season last year. But I really feel with this group, that's not the game that's been talked about. It's been the one 2 years ago when we went to Vermillion, South Dakota, and, of course, it was a really tough afternoon. Chris Strevler and the Coyotes had a really good day and ultimately was a 56-6 ball game in there. What do you remember just about that game and why that game really still sticks with you guys as one that, of course, was a motivating factor a year ago, but is still one to push you guys in the direction where you want to show how far you've come and also how far you want to go?
Yeah, that was a very tough game for those that were there. We just felt like we went in there and they just did whatever they wanted to us. Last year, that was a big motivation, and we ended up beating them in that double overtime. So I'm sure they're thinking about that game last year, and that's motivating them this week. But we're not. You remember the losses more than you remember the wins, and that's one of the losses I think sticks out to a lot of people that were there.
As you guys continue to press on and we'll face South Dakota this weekend, what's the biggest thing that you're taking with your position group in that offense and saying, this is where we got to go, this is what we got to do this week to still accomplish our goals?
Yeah, I think each week we come in, with a specific game plan. We just go out there, try to do our job. Especially as a tight end group, it's whatever the coaches want us to do, we go out there and do it. And I think that's kind of our mentality is work hard and just get your job done no matter what it is.
What do you enjoy most about the Mule Stable and the guys that are in that room and the chemistry that you guys have with one another?
We just got a bunch of different dudes. We're not all the same people, so the meetings are they can go any which way with however many people we got in there. But the different personalities, different backgrounds, I think what makes it special.
One of the things too I didn't get to bring up with Tyler, but he's a big music guy, and I know his playlist can change. Is there a favorite specific playlist or group of songs that Coach Funk plays that you really like, and maybe a certain playlist that you're like, please change it, don't play this again?
It's actually it's the most random group of songs ever. He normally asks somebody for the song of the day, and then it kind of just goes on from there. But yeah, it's a whole number of songs. Kind of depends on what he's feeling.
Yeah, it can kind of go through the whole thing.
Yeah.
You guys, of course, over the summer when you're going through workouts, most of you have summer jobs, and actually one of the most common jobs was you had one of them with many of your guys of being a delivery guy for a certain sub place here in town. I'll ask you this to end it. Who's the best delivery guy on the team? Is there any question? Is there any debate?
Definitely me.
Definitely you?
Yeah, I think talking to them, I think I brought in the most money on the one day. So, yeah, I would definitely say me.
I'm sure there's probably some guys that are going to watch this that would disagree with it.
Nah,
But you know what? They can
It's
disagree.
all right.
Haters are going to
Yeah,
hate, right? I think
exactly.
that's the old saying. Zach, good luck this weekend, man. Always appreciate you stopping by.
Thanks for having me.
Once again, that was Zach Larkin, the Mule. When we come back, time to talk women's golf. Head coach Greg Town is our guest. You're listening to Indiana State Coaches Show from 7th and Elm. We continue to roll on here at 7th and Elm Bar and Grill, Indiana State Coaches Show. Now it's the part of the show. This is why everybody came out here tonight.
That's right, Luke.
There is no question about this. Greg Town, head coach of Indiana State Women's Golf, is our guest. Coach, you got all your jokes ready? You said you were kind of rehearsing.
Actually, I didn't think of any until I got here, and then I thought, thank God Tyler's got the same hair product as me, because, we can do this thing. And I'm not coached as well as he was. But anyway, we'll go from there.
We'll go from there.
Yeah.
I know your group really had a fun weekend, able to see, of course, someone who was a big part of this staff a year ago, Amy Olson, the wife of Grant Olson. Your group was able to go see her play in Indianapolis.
Man, it's so awesome. And the tie-in with the football team was great, having Grant here last year and Amy. And she just bought into our team and supported our girls, invited them over. Her and Grant would cook for them. And they learned so much from her, not just about golf, but just about handling life and becoming a young woman.
And you mentioned, you talk a lot about having, power and positive role models. You do that with our own coaches and our own staff on campus. The importance of what it was like to have someone like Amy here and still, give time over the weekend. But I know when she was here with Grant, there are a lot of things that maybe weren't posted, that weren't seen. I know she helped out immensely behind the scenes.
Yeah, I mean, people that are great leaders do that. They don't need the recognition. They just do what they do. And that's what she did, and that's what he did. And they still continue to do that despite the fact that they're at our enemy at North Dakota State.
we won't talk about the Bison too much. That'll be the only
right.
time we bring him up here on the show. Coach Greg Town is our guest. We'll get to the couples tee here in a moment, but for your group, you're in the midst of your fall season right now. How would you really just describe the season to this point for your group?
Well, we have a long season. It's maybe the longest season of any sport. It's 144 days, and when you're talking about 5.5 months or whatever it is, you have to learn when you're going to teach and then when you're going to try to get results. And so I've been blessed to have Sophia Benetti, my former player, that is hanging around and helping me be a coach. I haven't had an assistant coach forever, and so it's fantastic to have her. She's got a great golf mind and is helping out a lot. So the kids are really, I want to say, learning a lot this fall, and hopefully this spring we'll have a nice run at the conference championship.
I know a lot of the folks in this room do know you, but for those that maybe don't know a lot of your coaching style, there's a lot of things that you do to kind of test the IQ or test the mental side of things with your players. And a lot of that is because golf, of course, is a big mental game. But whether it's certain books you assign and certain book clubs that you do throughout the year, why was that kind of something that you started to do as a coach, and why is it something you still continue to do, and maybe some of the wrinkles you still like to throw at them from time to time?
You had to ask me that, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. I ask you everything.
Yeah, I actually thought when I got here I could just teach people how to make a golf swing and it'd be fine. And then actually so many of the young people now have challenges. And we had a fella speak this week at our school, which talked about mental issues with young people. And there's way more challenges now with young people than there was when I was in school. We were lucky to have anything in the newspaper. Yeah. And so now everything's on social media. There's a lot of pressure, way more pressure to perform than there ever was. Parents are doing that to kids now. And so we try to spend a lot of time. Literally, we spend 30 minutes a day not practicing and just talking about stuff that can help you on the mental side and to have good mental fitness, so to speak.
I know a big part of your road trips is that too, because you'll tell me, you'll be like, hey, we're listening to you on the radio as you're going, because you'll either listen to the radio or you talk on your way. Everyone's not on their phones doing something simple. You guys as a team really try to make those road trips valuable on your way.
Yeah, the van rides are the best. That's what people remember. And so we talk a lot about things and issues that they have. between a couple Jason Aldean songs, but other than that, it's not too bad.
Is that your music? Is that your go-to music?
It's Sophie's. It's not mine. She came here.
So put it on Sophie.
Yeah.
I know one of the biggest events that we try to do in the fall is, of course, the couples tea that you've been a part of, and I know you got a lot of folks behind it that support it, and that's really a big reason why you guys continue to put it on.
Yeah, we're so blessed to have supporters that support some of the other sports and have chosen to participate in helping golf, and we're really blessed for that. But the couples tea is a unique format where we get to involve a lot of women, and we really want to kind of stay true to that. And we have maybe 22 teams, which is actually 22 foursomes, which is 44 groups of men and women to play in our fundraiser, and it's typically just males in those things and a couple of women. So this works out really well. We've got to raise money to elevate our golf program. We have challenges with the facilities and challenges with technology, things we need. Golf's an expensive sport. It takes a couple $1,000s just to equip a kid with clubs. So we're trying to do that through our fundraiser, and anything anybody can do to help, we appreciate.
You mentioned it is going to be October 6th, Sunday. Just some details about it, and those that maybe want to still try to join.
You can still register. We're not closing registration till Thursday. You can go to GoSycamores.com, click on our link on women's golf, go to more, click down, and sign up. Or you can just come out on Sunday. It's only $150 for a twosome. That includes golf, cart, lunch, beverages, and prizes. It's a great time. We have a fantastic group, so if you're willing to come out or just support us, you can come out for lunch. We'd like to see you.
Any Coach Town stand-up at all involved in the?
No,
in
definitely
no,
not.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Maybe some.
Maybe some.
We'll see.
Last thing before I let you go, one of the things I really appreciate about you is I see you everywhere and see you at all of our events, whether it's fundraisers for other teams, and a lot of our teams do their fundraisers out at Holman Links. You get to interact with all the different coaches, but you're such a huge piece in supporting all the coaches. What do you like so much about the coaches you get to work with each and every day, whether it's with men's basketball with Coach Lancey? I know you talk to those guys a lot throughout the year, and whether it's doing workshops or working with them to try in any way, shape, or form to help. Coach Mallory with football, and you're always at these events cheering on the teams. Why be such a fabric? Why not just focus on your little niche and not play as big of a role as you do?
Yeah, that's so funny. So serving others is the best thing you can ever do as a person, and so we try to emphasize that with our team. But to see people like Tyler come up here and be so passionate, I mean, are you kidding me? A young man here talking about this and talking about his father in such a way, and then to have people like Greg Lansing that want to be here, want to be in our community, and want to serve the people here, it's a fantastic thing. I mean, we have more friends here in Terre Haute than we do at our second home in Orlando, and we lived there for 30 years. And it's just an incredible thing to see Midwest folks and to see people, just embrace the community and want to be a part of it, and to see our sports be a part of it. It's just fantastic. And I think that's the only chance we have at Indiana State, is to have these kind of people that want to be here and want to support Indiana State, and whether it's a golf team or basketball or football, and go all in, so to speak.
Well, Coach, that's what makes it fun, and that's why it's great to always see you at all the events. We appreciate you stopping by and spend some time with us here tonight.
Thanks, Luke. Appreciate it.
Once again, that was Greg Town, head coach of Indiana State Women's Golf. When we come back, we're going to be joined by Marcus Knight, running back coach for Indiana State. You're listening to the Indiana State Coaches Show, live from 7th and Elm.
This is Kurt Mallory, and you're listening to Indiana State football on WIBQ 97.9 FM.
Welcome back to the corner of food and fun, 7th and Elm Bar and Grill. The Indiana State Coaches Show rolls along. Big thank you to our good friend Greg Town for joining us here on the show. Now it's time to hop back over to the football side of things with running back coach Marcus Knight in his first year here at Indiana State. Marcus, it's always good to see you, my friend. How's year one treating you here in Terre Haute so far?
Oh, it's been great. I've enjoyed every moment of it. Having an opportunity to coach with this staff and be under Coach Mallory, who's a guy that I admire and always wanted to work with. It's been great.
What do you admire so much about Coach Mallory, and what drew you to wanting to come here and coach with him?
He's a genuine guy, and he's consistent in his attitude and everything that he does. Been watching him from a distance, coaching at other programs, and having an opportunity to see him as we cross paths, and he's been the same guy every single time, and you have to admire someone like that, especially in this business.
As you've been here and been part of this program so far here in Terre Haute, you've had a really good stable of tailbacks. We'll talk to two of them in our next segment, our final segment of the show, and Titus McCoy and Peterson Curligran. But that stable really goes even much deeper. What have you enjoyed about this group that during fall camp you told me, Luke, we got a lot of guys who can play, and so far it seems like through the first 4 weeks of the season, you guys have a lot of guys who can play.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing about the running back group is we have a lot of tough kids. We have a lot of good kids that really care for each other. And they come in every day, and they find ways to make each other laugh and relax. And they also challenge each other each and every day, knowing that if they don't bring their best, that someone could be coming up right behind them to take those reps. So it's a great room. It's a great atmosphere, and I think it's a bright future in that room.
I feel so much from a coaching perspective, and when fans hear that cliche of next man up, a lot of fans may cringe and say, well, we hear that all the time. But you guys as coaches preach that all the time. You know, that's been Coach Mallory's message from day one. We're going to win with everybody. We do it together. Not one guy is more important than another. But when you get hard news like you do last week and losing one of your key leaders in Ryan, how does this team keep on going and really buy into that message that you guys and coaches weren't just preaching starting Monday? You've been preaching that every day that you've been around the guys.
Yeah, I mean, you got to give a compliment to the kids, to Coach Mal, to our coaching staff. I think we do an awesome job of just keeping these kids understanding that the next man up. And they have such love for Ryan and the things that he's accomplished that they want to do it for him also. So, you know, as we go through and you see the setbacks that we do have, we have other kids that step up just as well.
And you mentioned despite those setbacks, but it gives someone an opportunity to rise to the occasion. You guys lost Titus against Kansas, and of course it was a very scary situation. Luckily got great news back on Titus, and he's back and now playing. It was an opportunity for Peterson Curligran to step in. We've seen Nick Sims get in, Chris Childers as well. Do you feel your group has been able to embody that next man up philosophy?
Absolutely, and I would be remiss not to give the shout out to the real heroes, which is our O-line. Up front, they're doing everything that they possibly can to give us an opportunity. We have tough kids that when they get the ball in the hand, they're able to work in tight spaces and make things happen, but nothing would happen if it didn't start up front. And Coach Switz does a great job with those young men, so I have to give them credit. But when it comes to our guys, they just enjoy playing ball. If you were to talk to any of those kids, they love playing football. So give them the ball, just let them go back to their childhood days, and they're doing a great job of taking the knowledge that we're giving them and applying it to the football field.
So far through 4 weeks, Coach Knight, with your group, where would you kind of, I don't want to necessarily say grade, but what's the biggest takeaway through 4 weeks that you have of your group so far through 4 games on the field?
I think we can always improve. I think we've done some really, really good things. I think there's some opportunities we've had out there that we might not have taken advantage of so much. But it's a step-by-step, game-by-game type of sport. And they're improving every day. As long as we can keep them motivated, or I can keep them motivated to go out and get better every day, challenge themselves to look at the game in different ways, I think that you're going to see them blossom into better players, more competitive players, and that's what it's all about at this point.
Marcus, kind of take me back to when you were an athlete. Did you ever think down the line you'd be a coach? Was this something that you were always striving for, or just kind of by happenstance and just as time's gone along, just kind of evolved into a coach?
I knew I always wanted to motivate young men. Didn't know how that would be. Coaching, I come from a big family. I know I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for my brothers and nephews and paving the way. So I do have a lot that I feel like I can offer a young man. So after I got done playing professionally, I had an opportunity, and I knew that's what I wanted to do. And when you find the right situation and the right young men and right atmosphere, it's a great feeling.
You mentioned the right atmosphere, the right situation. A lot of your staff is here tonight. A lot of the staff is here tonight that you get to work with. I know I asked you about Coach Mallory to start it off, but what about the staff? What do you enjoy most about you guys as a group that you get to go to battle with, work with each and every day?
To see and go in with this staff is very lighthearted. They work and grind just as much as they play. I have a lot of respect for every single man that I have an opportunity to coach with on this staff. They just work their tails off, and I know if I do my job and just help in any way that I possibly can, then that makes us that much better. So that's what motivates me each and every day, learning more football in a different way, but also having an opportunity to do everything I can to help this staff, this team, and this community get to a MVC championship.
Yeah, I joke about it with you when we were during fall camp, but Coach O, Octavius, who's here tonight, as he had not a big pep in his step recently, his Falcons have gotten off to a really tough start this year. And
you're hitting a sore spot.
I know I'm hitting a sore spot, but have you had to help him along and get him ready for practice, or is Coach O a guy he's able to put on the blinders and focus on the task at hand?
Coach O, he's a grinder, that's for sure. And don't get on the Falcons. It disappoints him immediately. But Coach O has been a great, not only for me, but for these young men, because they have somebody that they can actually sit down, talk to, and express things that they may not be comfortable in telling a position coach. So it's been great.
Marcus, my last question to you, just the importance of every game's important. You want to win every game you play. But how important really is that game off a bye, and not just a game off a bye week to feel good, but it's that first conference game of the season and what that can really do for a group to kind of spearhead an effort as you go along?
Well, the message that Coach Mal is saying is right now we're looking to go 3-0. It's the next game. It's the next step. First two games didn't go quite our way, but these last two have been great success, and we found a way to score more points than our opponent, and that's what it's all about. We're starting conference play, so it's really, really time to get to work and take it one game at a time, and that's what we're focused on at this time.
Marcus, appreciate the time for stopping by, buddy.
Yeah.
Always good to chat with you. That was Marcus Knight here at the Indiana State Coaches Show. When we come back, it's time to wrap it all up with Peterson Curligran and Titus McCoy. You're listening to Indiana State Coaches Show from 7th and Elm Bar and Grill. Welcome back to the Indiana State Coaches Show, live from 7th and Elm Bar and Grill. Big thanks to Marcus Knight for joining us. We had Tyler Funk, leader of the Mule Stable, earlier tonight. Zach Larkin as well joined us. And a big thank you to Coach Town as well from Indiana State Women's Golf. No Coach Mallory tonight. He's got the night off here in Terre Haute, but these guys never have the night off. They never have the day off. They're always working hard. It's two of the main tailbacks for Indiana State, a position group that's caught a lot of eyeballs this year. Peterson Curligran and Titus McCoy. Fellas, welcome to the show. How you guys doing?
Doing good.
Thank you.
I know you're probably used to this, right? You probably have a show like when you were in high school at Center Grove. You're probably used to all this attention, aren't you?
I don't know about that.
You don't know about that? I know Petey from Fort Wayne. He had the Curligran show every week, that's something that's very important. You guys, we talk all the time. We talked about it with Marcus earlier about how you guys head into the year. You knew that you'd have a really good stable. It wasn't just one guy. You guys knew that you had a really good room. Titus, we'll start with you. So far through 4 weeks, what have you guys learned just about that position group as a whole?
I think we all come to compete. We all make each other better. We all have something unique, and we love the sport.
Petey, for you, what do you like about this group? When you guys get into that meeting room, what makes you guys gel? What makes you guys a united group?
I'd say it's just how we all approach each and every week, ready to know that whatever our part will be in that game is just going to be huge, and we got each other's backs, and we know if something happens, then someone will come in and do a great job for us, and I think that's a great thing because in meetings, you never know when your number's going to be called, so it just keeps everyone on their toes and ready to show what they can do.
You mentioned being on your toes and being ready, and for you guys this week, you'll have to do it without Ryan Boyle. And I know Ryan was a big leader in your guys' room, but so was Jaquan Keys last year. So was Christian Covington a year ago as well, which Cov still a part of the team this year. Titus, how has that experience for you guys? Because you guys had to go through that for yourself in your position. How has that gotten you guys prepared for what you're about to go through now?
For sure. What I think is most key is we have confidence in the next man up, and that's Curtis or Gunner or whoever the quarterback may be. We have confidence in them, and so does Ryan. So we all just unite as a team, and we all have to pick up our own slack. But we have confidence in the next man up. So I think that's where I think we're going to come together.
For you, week one, when you get hurt against Kansas, I know everyone was going through a lot of emotions seeing you carted off the field, to now have been back, to have been playing, knowing you go from those kind of emotion swings. You go from maybe thinking your year's over to getting news you'll be back. What did it mean to be back and playing last week against Eastern Illinois?
It felt really good, whether it was the support from the coaches or the teammates. It felt amazing to be back, but it was awesome to see PD and the other guys pick up where I left off, or where we all left off as a team. And PD did a great job, and I think it shows. Just he was leading the Missouri Valley. I'm not sure if anyone knows that. He was leading the Missouri Valley into 3 weeks into the season. So I think it just shows the hard work that everyone in that running back room produces, and it starts with Coach Knight, and then it starts with Coach Switz. But what's most important is the O-line. The O-line helps us, and without the O-line, you can't be a good running back if you don't have a good O-line. So that's where it starts up front.
Petey, let's go to that offensive line. A lot of big boys up there. Started the year with 5 redshirt seniors. Jose Vasquez has filled in the last couple of weeks for Big Tuna on the O-line. Are they as big as what they seem from high atop at the press box when you guys are on the field running behind them?
Yeah, they're definitely huge. Definitely really big guys, and that just helps out a lot. We're not the biggest running backs either, so it makes it really easy to hide behind them and then just surprise defenses.
It means so much, of course, to have that help up front. But for you, Petey, it really seems like all of you guys bring something different. Why is that critical in a running back room, to where what you do is different from what Titus does is different from what Nick Sims does, what Nick's does is different from Chris Childers, and that's important to have. Why is that important to have so many different looks and guys you can throw in at different times?
It definitely puts pressure on the defenses. I played on the defense side my freshman year, and definitely going through a game plan or game week, just looking at the other team, seeing with backs like us, with defenses, they're just like, okay, we got this guy, he likes to do this, he doesn't do this very well. And it usually be 1 or 2. And for us, just rolling in with 5 or whatever number we got, it's just like, okay, they have to go over every single one of us. And starting with me, he likes to do this, that, and then they got Titus, and then he likes to do this and that, and then you got Chris Childers, and it just puts a lot of pressure on them. I know it does because I've been there, and it's really good. It helps us out, gives us the edge.
I took a jab at him a little bit earlier, but to give him some love, Coach O. Octavius, I know is a guy that you guys really enjoy having in your room, having with you guys along with Marcus and Coach Knight. What do you like most about Coach O? What is it about the energy that he brings? Anytime anyone brings him up, there's always a smile that everybody has.
Coach O has helped us tremendously, whether that's on the field or off the field. With the coaching change, everyone was a little like, what? Because Coach Sewell, left, but he was a great deal. But Coach O is the one who kept us all together at the beginning stages, just to make sure we all unite. And then once Coach Knight got here, it was just like Coach Sewell never left. He has such great passion for this game. Both of them do. So Coach O means a great deal to us and the running back and also this team.
How about you, Petey?
I'd say Coach O is just like another player for us. He's a smaller dude, slimmer guy, and just he's just really great guy to be around. And we all have a ton of fun with him. And he's just like a part of the room, a part of the family. And I wouldn't want it any other way.
Does he have the speed like you do, Petey?
I don't know yet. He's got to show me.
He's got to show you at some point in time on practice. This weekend, the South Dakota game 2 years ago, I believe you both were on that trip. I'm part of that game. Both a part of the game a year ago, being able to knock them off in triple overtime. How much does that 0-11 year still stick with you guys in terms of a motivating factor and to still kind of keep that chip on the edge? And we'll start with you, Petey.
I'd say how teams would look at us and say, oh, this is the 0-11 team, and just disregard last year like it was a fluke. And I think that really pushes a lot of us, all of us guys on the team, because we're not that same team. We're a whole new team with that just a lot more confidence in ourselves, and we know what we can do. And other teams just will, and not being disrespectful, but just overlook us, and that's just really gives us a chip on the shoulder.
How about you, Tyus?
I agree with Petey. After that game in South Dakota in the Dome, we wanted to be done. We love the sport and we love each other, but it was just it was a butt whooping, to say the least. And coming back last year, like Petey said, having a chip on our shoulder, we still have that chip. We got it handed to us, and that's something we want. You know what I'm saying? You got to carry that with us. So definitely having that chip on our shoulder helps us a ton.
Of course, it takes everybody. Coach Mallory says that you win with everybody. We'll kind of go down the line here. We'll start with you, Tyus. What's it going to take for you guys to start off Valley play 1-0 and get a big-time win this weekend here against the Coyotes?
I think the offense has played a great game, and so has the defense. I think we need to come together this game and play it together, whether it's the offense and defense and special teams coming together. We got to pick up the defense, and the defense has to pick us up. And once we do that, we're gonna be good.
And Petey, for you, the last time you were in the Dakota Dome, you were on defense with Coach Wilson. Now you get to be able to run the football a little bit. I'm sure you're probably looking forward to that.
Yeah, definitely. For this game, we just gotta all have confidence in each other, because no one person can win a football game by themselves. So we just have confidence in the defense, on special teams, and on offense, and just know that we're gonna do everything we can do against them.
Well, we had to save the best for last, right? That we had to save you guys to end the show this week.
Yeah.
You appreciate it?
Yeah, I agree.
You just, okay, yeah, just agree.
I agree.
Titus, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Petey, always appreciate it.
Thank you.
Once again, it's Pearson Curligray and Titus McCoy. That's going to do it for the Coaches Show here tonight from 7th and Elm Bar and Grill. Again, you'll be able to listen to the broadcast this weekend on WIBQ, as well as GoSycamores.com. Indiana State and the Coyotes. It's the Missouri Valley Football Conference opener for Indiana State. You can listen to the Pepsi Countdown to kickoff with myself and Brian Fritz, starting at 2 o'clock on Saturday. For our in-studio engineer, Dennis Porter, I am Luke Martin. For all of our guests here tonight for the Indiana State Coaches Show, you've been listening to the Indiana State Coaches Show from 7th and Elm. We'll talk to you on Saturday from Vermillion, South Dakota.